Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. What was the point of being immortal after drifting in space for countless years? As expected, it was exactly as the demonic dragon had said. This Awu's huge body gradually disappeared under the sunlight, and no one would know that it was actually devouring itself. He did it day after day, year after year, and he didn't know when he would end. Look, this thing disappeared. Yi Fan's face was ashen, he could not come back to his senses, he said awkwardly, "What is this thing? It's so huge, I've never heard of it." Tranche swallowed his saliva and realized that he was covered in cold sweat. He said, "It seems that the demon land is more terrifying than we thought. It is indeed one of the most dangerous forbidden areas." Feng Zhu's face was also gloomy, as if he had not recovered from the shock just now. He no longer argued with Yunxiao. Yunxiao was also very disappointed. He had thought that he was standing at the peak of the Nine Heavens martial sovereign realm, and the entire heavenly martial realm was under his control. After his rebirth, he realized that the past was just a drop in the ocean, a frog at the bottom of a well, a laughingstock. Elder Feng, Yi Fan suddenly said, "Young Master Yun is a partner of the Temple of Holy Fire. We have a common goal, so we should help each other. And so far, it has been of great help to us in finding Noah's ship. I hope that everyone will not have any conflicts and find Noah's ship as soon as possible." Feng Zhu was stunned, he looked at Yi Fan in disbelief. This child, who had always been obedient to him and would never disobey him, was actually speaking to him like this. He was clearly accusing him of being in the wrong. After a short moment of daze, he looked at Yi Fan's calm face, he should have been angry, but for some reason, he didn't feel angry at all, instead he felt a sense of relief. It was as if he could see the child that he had raised with his own hands finally grow up. "You're right, young master," he said indifferently. "It was my fault earlier, I hope little brother Yunxiao won't take offense." As soon as he said this, everyone in the Hall of Holy Fire was shocked and looked at Feng Zhu in disbelief. Qi Guang smiled slightly, as if he had understood his thoughts. Yi Fan was brought up by the two of them and they taught him all kinds of martial skills. The two of them had been in charge of all the things in the Temple of Holy Fire. Now that the child had grown up, he had to establish his prestige in the hearts of the people. The master of the Temple of Holy Fire was not them, but Yi Fan. Yi Fan's will was the highest order. This was the most important reason that made Feng Zhu lower his head. He wanted everyone to know that even he did not dare to disobey the young master's orders. This kind of apology was very inconsequential to Yunxiao, but the other party was an old man, and he still needed these people to find Noah's ship, so he did not want to make things too awkward. "Elder Feng, you're too polite." Yi Fan heaved a sigh of relief, he smiled, "I hope everyone can work together. Our goal this time is the most important. You must not be distracted by other things." The atmosphere was much more harmonious than before, the only difference was that Yi Fan's status in everyone's hearts had increased greatly. Under Yi Fan's senses, the group started to fly towards the north of the demon land. Wu's appearance had already delayed them for a long time. If the group of warriors from the Gentle Song Forest had gone in the right direction, they would probably catch up soon. After the time it took to finish a cup of tea, a skeleton suddenly attracted everyone's attention. All kinds of demonic beasts could appear on the demon plains at any time, and it was a very normal phenomenon for many mercenary groups and adventurers to die. However, after a martial artist died, their bones would be quickly gnawed on by wild beasts. The skeleton below was well preserved, without any traces of being ravaged by wild beasts. There was only one reason for that. This skeleton had been a powerful martial artist in the past, so even after his death, he still retained his martial intent aura, which made the wild beasts not dare to follow him. He's actually a martial honor. Qi Guang felt the faint aura around the corpse and said in shock, "The aura of a domain. Even a martial venerable has fallen." Although the demon plains was powerful, the strongest was only an 8th rank supreme level demonic beast. Even if a martial honor was no match for him, it would not be difficult for him to escape. How could he have fallen? Yunxiao's face was unusually serious as he examined the skeleton. There was a big hole in its chest, and its heart had burst. It was obvious that he had been punched in the back. There was still fear and unwillingness on his face, as if he could not believe that he would die. Tranche sucked in a breath of cold air and felt a chill all over his body. He exclaimed in horror, he actually died in one move? Looking at the wound, it should be a human's fist force. Who could kill a revered martial artist with one punch? Not only him, everyone's hearts felt unusually heavy. If they were fighting at the same level, even if he succeeded in a sneak attack, it would be impossible to kill the other party with one punch. There was only one explanation, and that was that the person who threw the punch was not only a sneak attack, but was also much stronger than the dead person, which was why he could kill him with one punch. Yi Fan could not believe it. Could it be a martial sovereign? Did a martial sovereign really come to the demon land? Everyone fell silent. This speculation was like a huge rock pressing down on their hearts, making it difficult for them to breathe. A martial sovereign of the 9 heavens would be able to annihilate them all with just one move. Yunxiao seemed to be looking for something, as he kept rummaging around the wounds of the corpse, his eyes shining. Young Master Yun, did you find anything? The jar noticed his excitement and couldn't help asking. Although they hadn't known each other for long, this young man was as steady as a mountain, and ordinary things couldn't move him at all. I think I already know who killed him. Yunxiao said after a moment of silence. Who is it? Everyone was shocked at the same time, and all eyes were fixed on him. Yunxiao put on a relaxed smile and said, this is an extremely ordinary Vajra, but its realm is no less than that of a martial sovereign of the 9 heavens. The only one who can use the Vajra fist in such a domineering and invincible manner is the leader of our rookie mercenary group, Li Yunxiao. Yunxiao's heart was filled with ripples, and he could not calm down. Yunxiao had forced the young emperor to practice the Vajra fist 1,000 times a day. There were millions of martial arts techniques in the world, but all of them were the same. The comprehension of martial essence was the most important. The time of death of this revered martial artist should have been a week ago, which was after he came to the soft song woodland. 2 things could be confirmed. One was that nothing had happened to Li Yunxiao, and the other was that many people wanted him to be in trouble. Yunxiao's eyes grew cold as he said in his heart, no matter who you are or what power you have, if you dare to touch my disciple, your fate is already decided. Your regiment commander, Lord Haolian? The jar stammered a few times before he said in shock, didn't Lord Haolian go into seclusion to break through to the martial supreme realm? Could it be that the closed-door training ground is a bit strange? Yes, Yunxiao murmured. It should be in this demon land. If one wanted to break through to the rank of a martial supreme, one could not just rely on closed-door cultivation. One would need an extremely great opportunity. He's in the demon land to find his own fortune. The hearts of the people from the Hall of Holy Fire were still heavy. However, the other party was only a captain. If Li Yunxiao had any intention of spying on Noah's ship, he could do nothing as a captain. Also, how could a martial supreme who was about to break through to the martial supreme realm not have any interest in Noah's ship? Yunxiao could see the concern in everyone's eyes, so he smiled confidently and said, don't worry, everyone. My rookie mercenary group is a group of people who keep their word. I also have the right to speak on behalf of the guild leader. Since we've reached a cooperative relationship, I'll definitely keep my promise. I'm relieved to hear that, young Master Yun, Yifan said with a bitter smile. However, he didn't look at all at ease, and his smile was extremely forced. Everyone gathered their emotions and was about to continue following Yifan's senses when a strange phenomenon appeared in the sky. Dark clouds surged and the sky turned dark. What's going on? Could it be that Uwu is here again? Yunxiao looked up at the sky in surprise and saw purple stripes beginning to appear in the dusky sky, spreading out like a fishing net. The space was constantly torn apart, and all kinds of negative energy were seeping in. Not good. It's an inter-province transportation formation, exclaimed the earthen jar in shock. People from the other 3 regions have entered. From the purple lines, the heads of some battleships could be seen. From their appearance, they were 8th grade netherworld battleships. A powerful weapon charm rippled out in the space, pressing down on the hearts of Yunxiao and the others, and their faces grew uglier and uglier. The muddy waters of the demon plains were getting more and more muddled. Soon, the purple runes disappeared, and the sky returned to normal. An 8th grade warship and 2 7th grade Golden Sun warships appeared. The 3 battleships were connected from the front and back, covering the sky and the sun as if they were non-existent. They covered the earth as if it was night, without any sunlight. A figure seemed to be flashing on the 3 warships, and he had already discovered Yunxiao and the others below. A man in white with long hair that reached his shoulders appeared at the bow of the netherworld warship, looking down coldly. The man raised his hand and waved it down. The 3 battleships immediately started to move. The complicated arrays on them turned, and all kinds of energy spread out. A small golden formation lit up at the front of the 2 Golden Sun warships. Suddenly, a powerful beam of light shot down, and the huge warships were pushed back slightly by the backlash. 2 powerful beams of light shot down toward Yunxiao and the others, illuminating the dark sky as if it were daytime. The Golden Sun warship's red air attack. Everyone run! The jar shouted and retreated as if he was flying. All 8 of them flew up and fled as fast as they could. The powerful pressure from the impact was enough to kill any powerhouse below the rank of a martial honor. Boom! The 2 attacks landed directly on the demon plains and bloomed like a golden lotus. Violent energy connected together and spread in all directions. The sound was deafening and the light was blinding. Everyone in the Temple of Holy Fire was a martial royal realm expert. Although this super powerful attack was powerful, it was not difficult to avoid it. A bottomless black hole was blasted open on the ground by the 2 connected attacks. The martial venerable's body was also instantly reduced to ashes, leaving nothing behind. Right at this moment, the bow of the netherworld warship emitted a powerful green light. An extremely overbearing attack was gathering energy in a dark green formation. The light it emitted was like the sun, illuminating the entire dusky sky as if it was daytime. Netherworld strike. The netherworld battleship was like a monster in the sky, spitting out an attack from its mouth. It was like a god of thunder descending from the heavens. The range of the attack was even greater than the combined attack of the Golden Sun warship. The power of the light increased exponentially. Wherever the light passed through, the space would break apart and shatter like water. Moreover, the attack was aimed at the 3 martial royal realm experts. Maybe the other party felt that this attack was not enough to kill Wu Zun, so he killed a few ants first. Yi Fan was one of the 3. Fengzhu and Qi Guang were both shocked, and their auras burst out violently, wanting to rescue him. Yi Fan himself was also frightened, but he quickly calmed down. His feet moved in a series of magical steps. These steps seemed to have space attributes, and in a few steps, he actually walked out of the attack range. The other 2 martial emperors, on the other hand, were not as powerful. They were immediately drenched in cold sweat. Not only was the attack extremely powerful, but it also carried a rolling power that suppressed their movements, making it extremely difficult for them to even move. Just as they were in despair, a black shadow appeared above them and suddenly grew bigger. It was actually an ancient bell that fell towards them and instantly covered them. Boom! The netherworld's attack landed on the ancient bell, and a powerful energy burst out. There were also extremely powerful sound waves that spread out, and circles of black patterns appeared around the ancient bell. They were actually spatial cracks that had been created by the pressure of the sound waves and energy. The crack continued to tear apart, devouring all kinds of energy. Although the ancient bell was standing on the ground, it did not seem to be in this space. It was not affected by the tearing force at all and was as still as a mountain. The energy struck for a long time before it gradually dissipated. All the ground around the black pits created by the previous 2 attacks had been shattered into powder, except for the area covered by the ancient bell. It formed a huge ring-shaped natural chasm that spread far and wide. The pupils of the white-robed man on the netherworld battleship shrank. He stared at the ancient bell with a shocked expression. The attack just now was the strongest attack from the 8th grade battleship, but the bell was not damaged at all. The only reason was because of the swan and eye. Ninth tier profound armament. The white-robed man's expression changed in shock. His long hair fluttered in the air despite the lack of wind. With a flash of white light, he appeared beside the dynasty bell. His eyes were filled with shock and joy as his gaze flickered on the bell. "It's my ancient clock, what are you looking at? I'm going to blind your dog eyes." At some point, Yunxiao had appeared above the dynasty bell and stomped down. A ray of golden light spread out from under his feet, and the characters on the dynasty bell flickered down. The ancient bell rang gently, as if thousands of years had passed by in an endless era under this ancient sound. A dynasty is a century. The white-robed man's face was filled with shock. He was caught off guard by the sound of the bell, and the light in his eyes became ancient and simple, as if time was rapidly passing through his body. After stomping on the ground, Yunxiao flipped in the air, grabbed the bell with one hand, and smashed it at the man's head. The two martial emperors of the Temple of Holy Fire were stunned, not knowing what had happened. "Woof. A mere ant dares to attack me." The long-haired man in white instantly came to his senses. His turbid eyes immediately became clear, and his face revealed a cold and arrogant expression. He immediately threw a punch. With this punch, the power of the domain also stretched out, covering everything in the world. Dang. As soon as the dynasty bell was thrown out, it was hit by the other party's fist force, which triggered a powerful sound wave that shook the surroundings. The force was so strong that it penetrated the ancient bell and reached Yunxiao's body, sending him flying backward. His bones were about to break, and his skin was cracking. At this time, the people of the Hall of Holy Fire also reacted, especially the two martial honors, Fengzhu and Qi Guang. They attacked together in anger and spread the power of their domains. Under the joint efforts of the two, they immediately suppressed the domain around the man in white and rapidly shrank. Mountain stream. Army obliteration. Fengzhu struck out with his palm, and a strong wind spread around his palm, forming many large and small circles that were continuous. Qi Guang activated his sword art and flew up. The nearly transparent sword in his hand swept out, covering all the vital points of the man in white. The man in white was shocked. The two martial venerables had completely suppressed him when they joined forces. He did not dare to be careless and quickly circulated his strength. His fists were like the wind, showing black and white colors. The black was like ink as it attacked Fengzhu, while the white was like smoke as it attacked Qi Guang. As soon as the black and white fists were thrown out, the situation of being suppressed immediately reversed. The three forces met in the air, and a powerful spiritual pressure appeared at the point of contact, spreading out in the air like a spider web. Feng and Qi were both shocked and furious. The other party had actually suppressed the two of them alone. The man in white was also shocked. The two of them were just ordinary 2-star martial supremes, while he was a peak 3-star martial venerable. He couldn't even suppress them. 1 star was a world, and the higher one went, the greater the gap. At this moment, more than 10 beams of light flashed down from the 3 battleships in the sky. Each of them exuded a powerful aura as they flew toward the man in white. "You guys go and kill those small fries. Leave these 2 old fogies to me," the white-robed man shouted coldly. His subordinates were all martial emperors. They would only be cannon fodder if they joined the battle. He relied on his advantage of being 1 star higher. Although he was slower, he had enough confidence to kill the 2 people in front of him. Feng and Qi were shocked. There was no lack of peak martial emperor Qi in those beams of light. Any one of them would be enough to make Yi Fan and the others suffer. At this time, the 3 battleships in the sky started to move again, aiming their attack formations at Yi Fan and the others. "This is bad. We can't hold back anymore, or the young lord will be in danger," Fengzhu said angrily. The white-robed man found it extremely comical. He laughed out of anger. "2 old fogies, stop pretending. Are you saying that you've been merciful? Use that sacred skill," Qi Guang also said solemnly. The sword in his hand flashed, and the white fist force was swept away. Streams of sword intent spread out from the sword. He gently waved the sword. Although it was very slow and did not seem to have any power, there seemed to be some kind of rule contained within each sword. Feng Zhu also shook off the black aura, and his arms began to dance like snakes. They were also moving extremely slowly, but his aura was completely different from before. Yunxiao's pupils constricted as he watched from a distance. This so-called saint skill was actually a martial skill that drew upon the laws of heaven and earth. The inheritance of a peerless martial emperor was indeed something. The man in white also noticed that something was wrong. He formed a seal with his hands, and several streams of qi burst out from his body and pressed toward the two. However, no matter how much he increased his power, he could not get close to the two. It was as if an extremely powerful force appeared around them, invulnerable to all techniques. Not good. The white-robed man's expression finally changed. He turned around and rushed toward the netherworld warship. You want to escape? High mountains and flowing water. Army obliteration. It was exactly the same move as before, but this time, there was a special charm to it, making people look extremely pleasing to the eye. It was like every punch and sword, every movement was so beautiful, in line with the best aesthetic vision. Fuck you, you old man. The white-robed man's face turned pale with shock. Four-way explosion. At this moment, the netherworld battleship also shot out a beam of green light, which stacked with the force of the four-way explosion and collided with Feng Qi and the other man's moves. Boom boom boom. The air current surged and the surrounding cultivators all quickly retreated to avoid being caught in the crossfire. The white-robed man's loud laughter rang out from the center of the energy. I have the netherworld battleship to help me. What can you do to me? As soon as he finished laughing, the netherworld battleship's rumbling sound suddenly came from the sky, as if it was under attack. The white-robed man and the dozen martial royal realm experts were shocked. They raised their heads and gasped in shock. The divine realm tablet turned into the same size as the netherworld battleship, pressing on the netherworld battleship and sinking to the ground rapidly. The originally dark sky became even darker, and the netherworld warship was rapidly sinking. If it fell, no one would be able to escape. What's going on? Hurry up and hold on. There were more than 30 different alchemists on the netherworld battleship controlling all the parts of the ship, but no matter how much he screamed, he could not change the falling trend. Instead, it was getting faster and faster. You shit-eating alchemists, I'm going to cut you up and feed you to the pigs. Usually I told you to maintain the starship well, but now it's actually broken under the pressure of a mysterious profound level weapon. The white-robed man was furious. He knew that it was too late to turn back now. He left immediately and dashed towards the Golden Sun battleship. No matter which faction they were from, the netherworld battleship was in existence with an absolute foundation. They couldn't afford to lose it easily. The materials and labor cost to refine a netherworld battleship was enough to refine more than 10 8th-tier profound armaments. The dozen martial royal realm experts' expressions changed drastically, and they fled in two directions. The netherworld battleship was too big, and the direction it was falling toward was the huge pit it had created earlier. He didn't expect that the arrogant and overbearing attitude it had displayed earlier was actually to dig its own grave. Boom boom boom. A sorrowful roar came from the battleship. When profound armaments reached the 8th grade, they would have a certain level of spirituality, and the battleship was no exception. The sorrowful cry revealed the fear of being suppressed, and it seemed to be trembling under the divine realm tablet.